From the heart of Natchitoches, KNOC, this is AM Natchitoches.
Welcome back to the program. Our other guest just stepped out for a segment. He'll be right back. In the meantime, we still have Mimi Stoker in with us with the police jury. Now, during that last couple seconds before we came back from the break, you reminded me of a story that we had on here, but it kind of, people don't really, they didn't pick up on it right away or whatever, but you know, a large portion of the police jury gave back part or all of their salary back into the budget in order to help some of these problems.
That's correct. When we realized, you know, that we weren't going to make it to the end of the year, we started looking at every single thing we could do to cut the budget. Of course, the majority of the police jury budget is mandated. It is things we must pay. We even talked about the jurors giving up their salary, and what we found out is that is illegal. Elected officials must be paid. So what we opted to do, we do get, you know, our salary, and just so there's no misunderstanding, each juror gets $800. That's monthly pay. I will be very honest, what I get is $590 a month. When taxes and so forth taken out of it, Social Security, that type of thing. We are writing a check then back as a donation of 20% back to the police jury. Now, to go further with the way that we've cut funds is extremely serious. Many people may know or have heard that the police jury office is closed every Friday, and it is. We cut every employee that we have on the second floor by 20%. Now, I'm telling you, if my salary was cut 20%, you know, that would make for serious budget constraints at home. But we have had to do that because we simply could not, looking at the budget for the rest of this year, we could not pay our employees. And there again, if they work 40 hours, we are legally obligated to pay them for 40 hours. So we have reduced everybody's paycheck by 20%. They are working a 32-hour work week. We've had people, well, before this happened, we did lay off a couple of people. Since we've reduced these salaries, we've had a number of people who've left because they simply can't work, you know, with a 20% reduction. They found other jobs, they've moved on. And we hate it because it's some of our good employees that were experienced in the job they were in, but that's, you know, that's the way the ball bounces. We hate it, but we have done everything we can. I want the public to know nobody up there is making an outrageous salary. You know, we are operating a bare bones operation. There's just nowhere else that we can cut. We must increase the revenue to the jury. Now, you know, all that has been about the health unit renewal. The other renewal is the solid waste renewal. And this is not a new tax. It is simply a renewal of what we've been doing. Now, I would like for the public to know that at the last jury meeting, we decided we will not automatically renew with a company who now has the contract. We are opening it to other companies that want to bid on the garbage collection in the rural parts of Natchitoches Parish. And one of the things that we really are seriously interested in introducing with whichever company, and it may be the same company, IESI has it now, they may, you know, redo their contract and bid on it. But we have informed them that it will not simply renew with the present contract because we see some issues that we definitely need to change. One of them that I am particularly interested in is having some type of recycling program for the people in the rural parts of the parish. I get calls very often from my constituents that live in the rural part of the parish that say, you know, what can we do? How can we recycle? Is there a site where we can take things and that type of thing? My proposal is to have at least one recycling container at each man site or compactor station. So I sincerely hope people who are interested in recycling will consider that because that is something. we do have good things with our garbage collection in the rural parts of the parish. As I mentioned, the man sites that are completely fenced in, and there's somebody there to operate it to make sure things go right, and then the compactor stations. So we feel like we have made some improvements. We know we definitely have room for improvement. I have 2 open bin sites in my area that are just, almost every time I pass by there, they're just atrocious. We want to correct that. We don't want that to continue. We want the people who go to dump their garbage, for it to be safe and clean. You won't be, getting nails in your tires when you pull up, that type of thing. But in the same breath, I'd like to say we want the people who use these rural sites to be responsible. Don't just pull up close enough and throw your bag at a bin where it misses and the bag tears open and things, spread all over the place. And at most of the bins, we do have signs now that say it is illegal to dumpster dive. That is not permitted. Once that garbage goes in the bin, it is no longer the property of the person who put it there or anybody who wants to rummage through it. It then becomes property of IESI. So, besides, it's just unsafe to do that.
Yeah. Now, also joining us this morning, Mr. Louie Bernard. You mentioned earlier other people who work in the courthouse, and this is definitely one of the more popular guys that I know of.
Ooh, wow.
Don't know. They just don't know. I'm glad to be here, Joe. Thank you very much.
Glad to have you in this morning. And we mentioned early on in the show that we did focus a lot on the school board last week, but there's so much more than that on this upcoming ballot.
Yes, there is. First of all, the lieutenant governor, which, as you know, is a special election made necessary by Mr. Mitchell Andrew deciding he was going to run for mayor of New Orleans. So, lieutenant governor, and I think the names that most people are familiar with in that race are Jay Darden, Carolyn Fayard, Butch Gautreaux, Sammy Kershaw was here the other night, and Roger Valeri and Kevin Davis. And there's a couple other lesser knowns that run every year, and I don't recall those right off the top. But Lieutenant Governor Melanie McKnight.
You missed.
See, you got the copy of it, and I don't have it in front of me. But we do have 2 constitutional amendments to vote for. Everyone needs to remember we'll have 10 of those in November, and we need to do a little education on those amendments in November to make sure everybody knows what they're doing on that. But the focus of this election, as everybody knows, is are the school board races and the police jury renewals, and that's why we hope that everybody will make a concentrated effort to go out and vote. We had 650 people voted in person. We had 278 mail requests to vote by mail. You might contrast that with Bossier Parish, who had 492 votes, early votes. So I think there's a lot of interest between the police jury renewals and the school board races here locally, and I think that's has generated the interest in people coming out.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about that. We have 2 great guests in the studio with us, and we'll be back in just a moment.